Support for Sportspage is provided by the University Store. The University Store is the official headquarters for Mules and Jenny's emblem clothing, gifts, and UCN memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store, located on the lower level of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. And promotional support for Sportspage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.
Coming up on Sportspage, I'll sit down with football head coach Jim Svoboda and talk about the recent win over Nebraska-Kearney. We'll also catch up with head volleyball coach Flip Piontek and go over the win against Emporia State. In our Sportspage spotlights, we'll take a look at football senior Alex Perlin. We'll also meet Jenny's volleyball libero Reilly. All of that and more on this week's edition of the University of Central Missouri Sportspage. Welcome to Sportspage here on KMOS-TV. I'm Alex Greenlee. Let's get right into this week's action in the Central Missouri sports world. Brianna Blocker has the highlights from the football game against Nebraska-Kearney this past weekend. Bree, take it away.
Hi, I'm Brianna Blocker, and it's family weekend here in Warrensburg, Missouri at the Walton Stadium, where the Central Missouri Mules face off the Nebraska-Kearney Lopers. Let's take a look at those highlights. The Central Missouri Mules fell short starting the game against the University of Nebraska-Kearney Lopers on family weekend at Walton Stadium. Opening the game, the Lopers drove through our defense, giving Nebraska-Kearney a 7-0 lead. The next couple of drives, the Mules defense really put in work, such as number 26, Travion Vaughn, taking down the Lopers offense, creating opportunities for our offense to gain yards upfield. The Mules seem to get their spirits back up throughout the next couple of plays, with the leadership of number 6, Hayden Hawk, seeking an open 24, Ray Harris, allowing us to gain more yards. Soon after, Hawk sought number 86, Cullen Rosine, for a 22-yard gain. The Mules tied the game 7-7 late in the first quarter after a 13-yard score completed by Rosine. The game stayed tied 7-7 through most of the second quarter, with each team not being able to put forth much effort offensively. Here he had number 7, Justice McCullen, always prepared for the open pass. Nebraska-Kearney drove 96 yards in 7 plays just before halftime to give the Lopers a 14-7 halftime edge.
Number 94, Jason Benkes on the tackle.
The Mules defense didn't allow those yards to come easy, however, making it quite difficult for the Lopers to get through. With their second touchdown of the second quarter, the Lopers kept the Mules down by 7. At the start of the third quarter, the Mules came out hot and ready to score. The defense forced a punt on the possession, and the Mules took over at their own 37, bringing the Lopers' lead to just 4. Hawk sought Sean Gorman for a 21-yard gain into Loper territory. Though a little shaky on the pass, Hawk still managed to break through the defense, allowing number 16, Jalen Zachary, to receive the pass. This gave the Mules a boost of energy. With a nice and easy pass to LaVance Taylor, he was able to score his first of 3 touchdowns of the half with a 13-yard run to give UCM a 17-14 lead. I'm here with freshman wide receiver Kyle Eccles. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for asking. So, being one of the youngest members on the team, how does it feel being such an asset to today's game?
Well, I mean, it's not just me, man. We all came out there. We had to get each other hyped. We came out kind of flat second half, but we came back. I mean, first half, we came back second half and put it on them.
So in 3 receptions with 145 yards, what do you think attributed to that success?
I mean, like I said, we came out second half. Our quarterback, he was putting the ball on the money. Our line was blocking. You know, that's all the things we need to be successful.
Offense fell short the first half, but really picked up as the game progressed. How did you guys mentally prepare for the second half?
Whenever we went in the locker room, you know, the coach gave us a little speech, told us we got to pick it up, told us to just go out there, have fun, and just go every play, go hard every play. And that's what we did. We took his advice and came out with the dub.
You did. So it's family weekend here. So how does the crowd's energy really stimulate the game?
I mean, we definitely feed off the crowd every play. When the crowd's in the game, that's going to get us going. So we love it when our fans are here. So we definitely appreciate that.
What are your reflections about today's game?
I mean, I'm just glad we got the W. We played hard, we played as a team, and we came out to win.
Congratulations on your win. Thanks for interviewing with us today.
Thank you.
I'm Brianna Blocker reporting for Sportspage.
Brianna, as you take a look at that, UCM wins 45-28. Nebraska-Kearney falls. Levance Taylor, 157 yards, 3 TDs. Eccles, 3 catches, 145 yards and 3 TDs. Hayden Hawk, 18-25, 347 yards. What a game for him. And joining us now to talk Mules football is head coach Jim Svoboda. Coach, glad to have you on.
Hi, Alex.
How are you doing?
Good.
First thing I want to talk about here is, well, the slow start, in the first half, down 14-7. What was the biggest issue for you guys to get going in that first half?
Well, you never know. You got to give some credit to the defense, and sometimes it takes a while to adjust. And they got the one explosive play with their running back, and we just kind of misfit that, and he got a long touchdown run. And then it was kind of a battle back and forth. And the drive right before half that they got was concerning, just because they at that point had a lot of momentum and also got the ball back in the third quarter. So we made some adjustments at halftime. Really nothing major. It was just more of a deal where, as I saw it, we were just, as we were playing along, sometimes you have high expectations. You go out there and it doesn't go how you think it is, and then you tend to, it tends to snowball the other way. And so I think a little of that was going on. We weren't executing at the level that we would like to. Second half we came out and defense got a big stop, and then we got some points on the board, and then after that we just kind of cut loose.
Well, that and you guys did. And the field goal in the second half and the Levance Taylor touchdown gave your team the lead 17-14 with 7:32 left in the third quarter. That momentum shift really was pivotal in the game.
It was, and you never know when the next play is going to, be the one. And so I think that's an important lesson that our players took. It was a pretty dramatic example of that. We had lots of explosive plays in the second half, and from the middle of the third quarter on, really, and so you just got to keep slugging, and as long as you don't take yourself out of it mentally, you got a chance to do these things.
Well, and then that you guys did, and from there the Mules ran away with the game. Taylor had 3 TDs, a big game for him. Ran away in the second half, and they held him a little bit in check in the first half, as you guys didn't really have the lead going in. But how did he change the game in the second half?
Well, that's Levance. I mean, that's a good example, and we got lots of players like that, really on both sides of the ball. But we have some players on offense that are explosive that can go the distance, and that's why you're always in it in my mind. So there's no reason to panic. I didn't feel like it was an effort thing or anything like that. We just we have a little tendency still as we're growing through this thing to kind of get in our own way, and that's something that never helps. It never helps to be frustrated, or we don't have any finger pointing or anything like that going on. It's just more of, I think, sometimes you can want it so bad that you try so hard that you play tight.
Right. Well, and that's understandable. But you guys had a really good game overall. I just want to make a comment on that. Hayden Hawk had a solid game, 347 yards, 3 TDs, 2 of those to Eccles. We'll get to him here in a minute. The game in the air was a big factor for you guys this time around. Is that what you guys want, or do you want to just, ground and pound?
Well, we're more accustomed to throwing the ball. Clearly, that's kind of how we've made our mark here the last few years. But our offensive line is far more physical at this point and doing a very good job in the run game, so we have more balance. And so I think it's great. So far we've had a 350-yard passing day and a 350-yard rushing day. That makes you pretty hard to defend, I think. So that's being balanced is always the goal. If there's a particular game where they're shutting our run down, which they did a nice job of early, then our line did a great job pass pro and gave Hayden some time to throw, and we're going to get some guys open if he's got time.
Well, and speaking of guys that are open, Kyle Eccles, 2 TDs in this game as a sophomore. Is he becoming one of those guys that Hawk can just throw the ball to?
Well, he's really worked hard. He came here in the summer, and he's a transfer kid that we recruited out of high school and came to us from Kansas State, and so we've known about him, and we liked him out of high school and offered him a scholarship out of high school, and we're just glad that he came back our way. Some kids on the team, and he's an excellent route runner, and we were able to get him loose there. He ran a terrific double move. We ran a kind of a stutter go on his first long touchdown, and kind of left the DB standing there, and had good time to throw, and Hayden put it on the money. Sometimes those wide open shots are harder to complete because you don't want to miss it. But then we ran a play action pass to him, and he ran right by the safety, and Hayden again put it on the money. And so those plays, those explosive plays, are always critical in a game.
Well, certainly, and Rosine got a touchdown too. How's he done so far this season?
Well, I think his overall game is much improved. He's a terrific blocker, and of course that with his size, we feel like if he's a mismatch with most safeties and linebackers that we're going to see. And you saw in the one pass there, Hayden just kind of put it in a place where only he could catch it. And he's probably when he's stretched out, he's close to 8 feet, and you just get it up there and let him make a play on the ball and not make it too complicated. So he's a weapon for us in the inside receiver spot.
Well, and that he is, Coach. And a stat for you I want to pull: 23:54 the time of possession for you guys, the Mules, and then 36:06 for the Lopers. Did you guys just score faster, or what was really the key to just getting off the field
clearly
fast?
We did. We had some short scoring drives. That's a statistic we don't spend much time talking about. It's a little bit of an old school thought in terms of keeping the defense off the field. Our philosophy is if the defense wants to get off the field, make the other team punt or take the ball away. And the objective on offense is to score. There's certainly times where you want to grind it out and play keep away a little bit, but for the most part, you want to try to get the ball in the end zone. And so time of possession. If you probably look across the country statistically, it's probably way down there in terms of what a team's record might be.
You make a good point on that, Coach. And next up, the Mules head to Joplin. A big game for you guys, Missouri Southern. What are you expecting from the team, coming off 2 decisive wins? They were 0-2, and then they get 2 wins, had some interceptions in their games, and now you guys are going to go down there and take them on. What are you expecting?
Well, they're clearly on a roll, and they have a system and a plan that they stick to, and they're going to run the football, and they are a team that is concerned about time of possession. They want to shorten the game and milk the clock and play keep away and rush the football, keep the clock running, and so it's a very challenging from the standpoint of your offensive players staying in it, because they can be pretty methodical. So you're on the sidelines a lot, and sometimes you feel like you get in there when you do get the ball and you tend to rush and feel like you have to score, and so they and then defensively they put a lot of pressure on you, and they know that their defensive players are typically pretty rested because the offense does have the ball a lot. So it's much different than what a lot of people are doing in football right now, and that's high tempo, no huddle type deal. So it takes a lot to prepare for them in a week's time. But we went against them last year, and we played down there last year, so I think that experience will help us.
I think it will, Coach. And the weakness of the Lions seems to be that they don't really have an established passing game. What are your plans to try to go down there and keep their quarterback on rest?
Well, it's a challenge. You have to play disciplined football when you play it, because it is triple option, and probably I think the most difficult part of it is if they're executing their run game well. When they fake one of those runs and then the quarterback pulls up, then your safety's got to really be disciplined in terms of their keys, and this last week they threw the ball pretty well, so it seems like that part of their game is actually improving. So we're going to have to play very disciplined, very well on defense to try to keep them off balance.
All right, I guess one of the last few questions I have for you is, in your mind, what's the key for beating Missouri Southern looking at the tape?
Well, try to stop the run, as best we can, get them into, longer yardage situations. That doesn't really play into their hand. If you can get them into some second and longs and third and longs, win that first down battle. And then offensively, you have to be efficient. That's really the key. You're not going to get as many possessions as you might get in other games. And so, moving the sticks and taking care of the football and being efficient on offense, I think, is the key. And then, the trump card is always special teams. Our special teams have been playing very well, and the last 2 or 3 games we've gotten explosive play out of them. And if we can continue to do that, I think we got a great opportunity to be successful.
Well, I think you guys too. And really, the last question I have for you is, who do you think is going to take over this game offensively? I mean, Levance has really been on this season. If you guys win, you'll be above 500 this season. So, who's going to take this game away? I mean, is it going to be Hawk? Is it going to be Taylor? I mean,
we don't
in
know.
Your mind, who?
You don't know. It's just obviously the example I gave you is we have a 350+ rushing game on our resume this year, and we have a 350-yard passing game on our resume. So it depends how the game unfolds, what's clicking for us. We'll take what is available to us in terms of how the defense is playing us, and fortunately we're pretty strong in both of those areas. And so we'll see how the game unfolds, and if we can get some takeaways on the defensive side of the ball, I think that'll be important as well.
Well, Coach, I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Alex.
Really good luck to you. Up next, the spotlight on senior linebacker Alex Perlin. Don't go away. Welcome back to the UCM Sports Page. Let's take a look at football senior linebacker Alex Perlin and how his season has gone so far. Let's take a look.
Yeah, a little bit ahead of the first down, but don't put it up there.
Well, right now in my life, it's probably the coolest thing going for me. I'm literally sitting around at this school and I'm playing the best game, in my opinion, with my best friend. So it means basically everything to me. It took a while for me to really fall in love with the game. My first love was baseball, and then my brother, on Sundays we used to watch Brett Favre, and after the games we used to go in the backyard and he used to just whoop my butt. And after a while I just kept loving the sport, and more so. And then in 8th grade, that's when I really started playing. And ever since then, man, the love just keep on exponentiating itself, and I just love it even more every single day. A typical day of practice usually starts with some walkthrough. I'm dancing around a little bit, joking around, messing around with my friends. Stretched and start doing some scout stuff, a little competition with the offense when we whoop the butt. And then some more scout stuff, special teams, and just finish it off with another round of scouts, so we're even more prepared for the game. I mean, we've been through some really tough times together, Sometimes it was more my fault, but he's always been there for me, and that's what, him and my dad went through something very similar in their life with the whole cancer thing, and it really hit home with me, and we were able to really share a bond that's really special in that circumstance. I love Coach Jeter, my position coach. I initially came here as a running back, and he brought me in as a linebacker when, running back just wasn't working out for me. And as a leader, he's easy to follow through because he really loves what he's doing, and you could just tell that he truly does care about us. So it's easy to follow that, and the way that he coaches you up, he wants you just to be perfect. And if you're not doing something right, trust me, he's going to make sure that you know that, and he's going to keep on letting you know that and keep on letting you know even some more. But yeah, all my roommates are football players, and I mean, like I said earlier, they are my best buddies, so I love hanging out with them. And I do feel like that it does help out a little bit, on the football field when I'm running around there with them, and you kind of want to put your heart out on the line for them and your body as well, and just do whatever it takes because it's your best friend. San Diego, I knew after high school, I was like, man, I really just want to go on an adventure. I didn't want to stay at home. I wanted to really help myself mature by just getting out. And I don't know really how it kind of all transpired, but one of the coaches was recruiting me at UNLV, brought me over here, you know, I get the call like, hey, let's go to Central Missouri like for a visit. And I remember looking at my dad like, Dad, man, this might be a stupid question, but where is Missouri at? Like, I just didn't know where it was geographically, and I came here, and I don't know, people would say when they fall in love with a woman, it's love at first sight. It was love at first visit here. It was the first time I ever saw snow, and like a little kid, that's what I always wanted, was a white Christmas, snow. And I wanted to go on an adventure, and what a better place than Central Missouri. But my dad, he didn't let me play football until 8th grade because he played earlier and kind of got burnt out. He went to the University of Arizona and ended up leaving earlier because he was just tired of football. And, you know, and he's my best friend too, so he's always he comes to every single game. Like, he travels all the way from San Diego. And when that happens, it's like, you know, as a player and the son, your dad comes all the way for every single game. You put your heart out. You know, my mom comes to most of the home games, and, you know, I'm a mama's boy. I like to think her favorite. And, you know, that also helps too, because, you know, that's my mom, you know. She's always been there for me, and the least I can do is play well on the football field. But what I want to do is have the best time of my life, regardless of whether we win or lose. Because sometimes if you want to win so bad, it could hurt you, you know, with your performance on the field. But I know this is my last time ever playing football. This is it. I'm too small and just overall just not good enough to play in the NFL. So I want these memories that I'm about to have for the rest of the season just to be amazing. That's what I want. I majored in digital media. You know, I love writing. I just think other than football, it's a passion of mine. And I think it'd be really cool, like, obviously baseball was my first love, and I want to go back to that and, you know, be able to, like, write for the San Diego Padres and just really be able to express myself, you know, with paper to pen.
Perlin is coming off 11 tackles last week against Nebraska-Kearney. Good luck to Alex Perlin on the rest of his senior season. Up next, Jason Ketz will give us the rundown of the Jennies volleyball team. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Sports Page. I'm Jason Ketz. Before we talk to UCM head volleyball coach Flip Piontek, let's take a look at results from this past week. Jennies Golf entered the final round of the Fort Hays State University Invitational in 6th place after shooting an opening round .339. Junior Kayla Temple shot the low round for the Jennies at 12 over par. Taylon Entrikin's final round 12 over par helped the Jennies take home 6th place with a final score of 688. Jennies soccer played a pair of games on the road this past weekend, starting with Emporia State on Friday. The Hornets scored a goal late in the first half and took a 1-0 lead into halftime, but UCM evened the score at 1 when junior Nicole Pond found the back of the net in the 58th minute. 9 minutes later, Hannah Pyle scores her second goal of the season to keep the Jennies' undefeated streak alive. Central Missouri wins 2-1. The Jennies played Washburn University on Sunday. Freshman Alex Yockey scored 2 goals in the first 6 minutes of the game. After the lead was cut to 1, the Jennies struck back with 3 unanswered goals, including Yockey's third of the game. Central Missouri goes on to win 5-1. They are now 7-0-1 on the season, 4-0 in MIAA play. The Central Missouri cross-country teams traveled to Minneapolis, Minnesota for the Roy Gryak Invitational. The Jennies took home 18th place, led by senior Megan Glayman, who finished with a time of 23 minutes and 2 seconds. Last year, the Mules placed 3rd out of 40 teams. This year was no different. Freshman Ian Frazier, sophomore Spencer Hudson, and senior Adam Treadway all finished inside the top 35 to help the Mules to a 4th place finish. That's all for the results from this past week. I am now joined by Jennies volleyball coach Flip Piontek. Coach, let's start with this. On your roster, you have no seniors. Who would you say are big players as far as a leadership role on your team?
You know, the lack of seniors is not a thing that happens by choice. Just a natural attrition, and it's a very unusual year for us not to have that. So over the course of the spring season, we addressed the kind of need for someone to take that leadership role. The 2 players on the court that I would say are probably the most important leaders are Annie Reilly from St. James and then Carly Soika from Blue Springs. And they get the lead because they're on the court a lot. We have a leadership council, however, that we include other players on, and so we have players like Haley Thompson, who's the same year as Carly and Annie, but she redshirted her freshman year, so she's a year behind. We have a player who's been here what would be her senior year, Ashley Juergens from Topeka. She's also on that council, so we have a good core group of leadership that the other players can look to help them through. Because, you know, being on a team in the fall is a little bit hard. It's a little overwhelming. During the first month of the season, we missed almost every Thursday class, and so it's important for them to understand how to approach that, how to approach their instructors, and just the general fitting into the cycle of volleyball in the fall. So.
All right, and you have played a game against Emporia State this past weekend. KMOS-TV's Saber Hepner has more.
Hi, I'm Saber Hepner, and I'm here at White Auditorium, where the Ginnies faced off against the Emporia State Lady Hornets. Let's take a look at the highlights. Ginnies traveled to Emporia, ranked number 18 in the latest American Volleyball Coaches Association poll. They had previously won 7 matches. Emporia State brought the heat during the first set, scoring the first 2 points to set the pace and take an early lead. The Ginnies fought back with 2 kills by Carly Soika. Emporia State made a few errors on their end and let the Ginnies catch up, but come out with a 25-22 win. The Ginnies, with something to prove, attacked the second match against the Hornets with a kill by sophomore middle hitter Maddie Jones. Teams here fought to keep the ball alive for as long as possible. Neither team was willing to sacrifice the advantage until Emporia State claimed the point. Jones comes up with another kill, racking up the points for the Ginnies. Jones with the serve. Both teams battling it out until Emporia, with the error, gives the Ginnies another point. In an effort to fight back, Emporia relies on a Ginny error to regain the ball. Ginnies counter their error with a kill by Soika, leading the Ginnies to a 25-20 win. Becca Blaze with the serve. Both teams fighting to the finish, but the Ginnies come out on top 3-1 to improve to number 17 in the season. Hi, I'm Saber Hepner, and I'm here with middle hitter sophomore Maddie Jones. Maddie, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. You guys were neck and neck with the Hornets during the first match. What was your mindset going into the second match?
Our mindset was we knew that they were going to come out and play hard, and we were going to have to work every point because every conference match is a big deal to us. So we just looked at the next game one play at a time. So we just had to come together as a team and do our best.
You guys did an amazing job getting around their blocking game. What strategies do you think contributed to that?
Well, They were a strong blocking team, and we knew that we needed our defense to help us get around, and they helped us call out shots, and we had to focus on what was coming next and each point at a time.
And your energy was always high during the game. How did you manage to keep that momentum?
Well, we knew coming to their home court that Emporia was going to play hard. They were the team that beat us last year in conference, and that we were going to have to bring our own energy because we don't have a lot of fans all the way out here, so we knew we had to come together as a team and just work hard for every point.
And what were your reflections, your final reflections on this game?
My final reflections were, I think it was very fun to play together as a team. We had great digs. Courtney Thompson played amazing tonight, and everything fell our way, obviously, but it worked out really well that we were just playing together and playing hard the whole time.
Well, thank you so much, Maddie.
Thank you.
And as we look at the final score from that game against Emporia State, UCM 3-1 in the match. Coach, you lose this first set. That is the first set you've lost in MIAA play to that point. What was going through your head being on the road?
It really wasn't that big of a deal, just kind of the normal process in terms of how you approach the game. I thought that Emporia had a little bit more energy than us the first game, and they made a fewer mistakes than we did. So those fewer mistakes, mistakes are points you give the other team, and so there were a couple of situations where we allowed the other team to score without doing much on their own. They kind of watched us make mistakes. And so in that situation, I was worried that they would run away with the game, in terms of setting a bad precedent that we were not going to be able to compete. But as the game got farther along, Emporia got a little bit of a lead, but we worked our way back into it. And so really I was pretty comfortable with the fact that they were going to compete. We were pretty sure that they were going to start making a few mistakes because you can't play volleyball perfect every time. So it was their first home match in a long time, so they played great that first game. As the game went on, it kind of evened out to what I thought the volleyball should be. And then to me, the key part of that match was the second set, being able to go into the intermission with a 1-1 tie in terms of how you approach that intermission, in terms of what you must do to your lineup. So winning that second game was really, really important part of that process on that Friday night in Emporia. Was there anything you changed up differently between the first set and the second set to come out with the victory in set two? Really, it's funny that Saber picked Maddie because, Maddie normally starts in the back row for us. She starts really at right front and normally rotates out of the front row right away, so she's not able to get into the front row. But in the first game, some of the things that she did were very good, so we rotated our lineup to allow her to go into the front row first as the first middle blocker. And I think that really, she was playing terrific on Friday night. So for us to get her a chance to go in the front row allowed her to get a few more swings earlier than she would in a game normally. And because she was very effective, having her in the front row, just that little switch. We didn't change anybody's position or anything like that, but just by rotating the lineup to get her into the front row sooner than we normally would when she's having a good night, that allows us to get a couple extra points. And I thought that was a helpful part of the process. When you play a team at home, you're fighting them and the crowd and the emotion. And for us to get a couple kills and to be able to be in the game from the beginning, the second set through, that was very helpful for us. And I thought Maddie helped us in that way. All right, and the next night you play Washburn University, ranked number 7 in the country. Just talk about how you assess the performance of your team that night. We played better volleyball against Washburn. Washburn is a better team than Emporia. They just make fewer mistakes. And so for us, the volleyball was technically better. It was cleaner, fewer mistakes, but Washburn was able to find a way to win. The key to we just talked about Emporia. To me, the key was winning set number 2. So before you go into the intermission, losing a first game at a place, you don't want to do that, but it's not like it's unexpected. We lost the first game at Washburn 22-25. So we were in the game, we competed, and we felt pretty confident going into game 2. The difference being that, 27-25 is a really good volleyball game, but Washburn found a way to win that game. And so now you go into intermission down 0-2 rather than tied 1-1, and you feel like you're really behind the 8 ball in terms of you're really going to have to work extra hard. And playing a team like Washburn, they're such a good team that the odds of winning 3 games, it's not impossible, but it would be very difficult for us. And so then you're in the intermission process, it's a completely different mindset in terms of, we have to completely erase games 1 and 2. Whereas if you go in 1-1, you're building on what you did in the set that you won. We had a little scouting exercise. After we play teams, we come back to campus and then we kind of refresh and we'll play Washburn again. So we kind of, I want them in their own notes to have an idea. And so what we did was, we gave them the box score for set 2, where the score was 27-25. And, I gave them the play-by-play. And I said, okay, you tell me in that play-by-play what we could have done different. And really, there was nothing. They came back the next day and they looked at me. They go like, we couldn't find anything that was that bad. And it really wasn't that bad. The simple fact was that, Washburn scored 20 points and we scored 18. Washburn had 2 more kills than us, and that's how they won the game. We gave them 7 points, and 7 errors on our part in a game is very low for us. Washburn only gave us 7 errors, and so the score was 25-27. And so for us, that process of going from that match and saying, okay, we did pretty good, but now how do we get over that hump to win that game 27-25 rather than lose? And that's how you move forward in the conference. So that's what we'll do.
And looking ahead, you're in the middle of the season right now. What would you say is the biggest thing your team needs to improve on?
Looking ahead is a very difficult thing in our conference. I've been coaching a long time, and so for me, looking ahead is really looking ahead to Friday night. If you take care of the small things that are in front of you that you can consciously see, and step-by-step work at those things, then the end result that you want in the end of November will take care of itself. So for us, in terms of, in the conference, we've lost the conference match, but everybody's lost a conference match. So it's not like we're the only one that's lost one. So our position is that for us, Fort Hays State coming in here Friday night is the next most important match. And, it'll be a lot like last weekend where you have a tendency to overlook the first night because you think the team on the second night, Nebraska-Kearney, who's ranked I don't know what they're ranked, but they're in the top 10. It's easy for the team to say, hey, no, we're going to worry about Nebraska-Kearney on Saturday. Well, it's really my job to make sure they understand that Fort Hays State wants to beat us just as bad as Kearney does on Saturday. And if we don't take care of what happens on Friday night, then you're going to be looking at a different perspective, in terms of how you approach Saturday's match. So for us, long term, really, there is no long term in volleyball. The long term is the next match up, and we're going to play Friday night. Today's practice will finish up on Fort Hays State and go take the court on Friday night.
All righty. Thanks, Coach, for joining us. Coming up after the break, we spotlight junior Libero Anna Reilly. We'll be right back after this. As a sophomore last season, Libero Annie Reilly was named first-team All-MIAA after an impressive season where she led the conference with a .59 serving aces per set, which was good enough for 10th nationally. Reilly is looking to pick up right where she left off last season.
Playing especially now as a junior, it just means so much more to me because I have been, I've played for 2 years, and this year I just have so much put into this program, and Flip and Kate have just been these incredible mentors for us, and not only coaches but in our life, and just playing for them and playing for this school is just more than anything I could have really imagined, just because it's just more than a sport, and we're playing for our fans, we're playing for each other, and we're playing for our coaches, and it's just, like I said, it's just more than just playing volleyball. So yeah, I was recruited as a back row player in high school by Flip, and he came to a couple of my high school games and club games and offered me a spot on the team, and so I took it. Flip is just like a dad to me, like a second dad, and I think he's like that for all the girls on our team, just because he cares so much about us as people, and I look up to him just like a dad, and I would definitely say that he's just like super easygoing, really fun to talk to. I really look up to him. Yeah, I think that our team chemistry is so good because we get along so well outside of volleyball and outside of just the gym. We hang out with each other on the weekends. I live with 3 other girls on the team, and all of our relationships, like we all just look out for each other in every way. If anybody needs help in the classroom, we'll find somebody that can help them, or if anybody just needs help with anything else. I just think that everybody looks out for each other and cares for each other just like we're a family. Practice, I think we usually start out with kind of basic skills and like just passing, and then to we call it gens, which is usually our favorite game. It's just back row attack, and you have to, it's competitive, and the team that wins it's usually really competitive. So then we go to either like hitting skills or setting skills, kind of break off into our individual skills, and then we come back together as a team and scrimmage. It's definitely tough, and they said going into it that it would be, but just trying to get on top of school and staying on top of school all the time, but it just shows you how much time management that we gain as a student athlete, and I think that's like invaluable, just because I can't imagine what I'd be doing if I didn't have volleyball in the afternoons every day. And so I love that I've been taught how to do time management in my everyday life, and I think that'll carry over, especially as I get into the real world. I'm studying biochemistry and biology, and I would love to go to med school after college, and hopefully I can go somewhere close to home, just because I'm a homebody for sure. But I would love to be maybe an ER doctor or something like that someday. It's kind of daunting right now, but I think if I set my mind to it, I know that being here and like just being a student athlete like we were talking about earlier, I think that these kind of skills will help me in getting to my goals someday.
Reilly so far this season has 256 digs and 33 serving aces through 14 matches. Coming up after the break, we preview all of the upcoming games for the Mules and Jennies. You're watching the Central Missouri Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS.
Welcome to Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. Here's a look at the upcoming schedules for Central Missouri athletics. Mules football is preparing for a big game in Joplin on October 4th against Missouri Southern. The Mules are coming off a win at home. The Lions have won 2 in a row and are looking to improve to above 500. Good luck, Mules.
Jennies Golf is heading to Edmond, Oklahoma for the Central Oklahoma Classic, October 6th through the 7th.
Jennies Soccer has a 2-game homestand coming up. Nebraska-Kearney October 3rd and Fort Hays State on October 5th. The Jennies are currently 7-0-1 on the season, and they're 4-0 in MIAA play.
Volleyball has 2 games at home this weekend. Fort Hays State on Friday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. and Nebraska-Kearney on Saturday, October 4th at 3 p.m. The Jennies are currently 8-6 on the season, 5-1 in MIAA play.
And with that, we conclude this edition of the Central Missouri Sports Page. Make sure to tune in next week. Until then, for our entire crew at KMOS-TV, I'm Alex Greenlee.
And I'm Jason Katz saying thanks for watching the Central Missouri Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS.
Support for Sportspage is provided by Union Station, Crossroads to Technology, a one-stop shopping source for technology needs, campus-compatible computers, software for Mac and PCs, and much more. Located on campus on the lower floor of the Elliott Union in Warrensburg. Union Station, Crossroads to Technology. And promotional support for Sportspage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.